Hello, YouTubers and DTubers. Welcome to part 2 Planet Nomads. How you guys doing today? I'm going to go over a little base building, a little mining, little vehicles, all the hard knocks that I have learned from this game. I've been scavenging around, touring, been up north, south, east, west, been to all four corners. Not all, but venturing a ways out. Let's talk about vehicles. This is going to be a trial and error. I originally had a four-wheel vehicle, and the problem being is too small on the access. So if you go down a lot, you're going to get into some areas where there's some really rough terrain, and they're going to be really easy to tip over. This build has been a little bit more successful for me. The two rear wheels steer opposite. I have the medium drive gear, and then in turn I have the front gears. I put a emergency printer on here. I have 4 cargo boxes. I have, for each 3 wheels, you will need 1 power supply box, so that is there, and 1 on the opposite side. And then I have a separate power box over here for the lighting for the 3 spotlights. Now, one thing I noticed, if you turn on the power, go in our build mode here and hit our C, and you turn on or off the power, sometimes it eats a whole battery up. So I would be cautious about thinking about turning off the juice to the battery. I don't know if it's a bug, my particular situation, or what. So get out of build menu here. And I just put this front stabilizer bar to hopefully prevent tipping. Now, when you build the tires left to right, don't do... See how the 2 front tires are a lot wider than the rear tires? You can make the rear tires wider also, but you want some width to your vehicle so, again, it doesn't tip over easy. But on the other hand, you don't want them too far out, because when it comes to cutting through trees and stuff, you'll bump through. So, again, you have to do a trial and error thing like this. I'm going to see if this front stabilizer will help keep me from tipping over when going down some inclines. So let's talk about the remote distribution units here. That's these little round guys here. Now, to the corner, you'll see like a Wi-Fi symbol with ×1 on it. So if I walk away from the unit a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, oh, see how it disappears? That's the range of your wireless unit. So in essence, if you have stuff to build in your chest, you can go around in this area and build stuff and not having worry about it on your personal inventory, which is kind of cool. Now, they have a radius, so I put one here. That's interesting how that one says ×3 on it. And then there's ×2. Oh, so that must be number 2, number 3, and number 1. Just figured that out. Now, over here is my cryo. So a little while ago, I have now linked all my conveyors to everything. So maybe one day they'll have auto building on the factories to where it'll automatically build everything like you want, like Imperium does and a couple other survival games. So I'm slowly building out my base here. Now, let's take a little walk up the hill. Hope I don't get too cold out here. It's raining. instead of saying getting too cold, it just says you're sick. So maybe they'll correct that bug issue. So I have a local hill here, and I'm still trying to get a handle on this mining business, because here I am on a good rock foundation area. So I placed my miner, and I also have a biomass generator next to here. I think it's kind of easier than having a battery pack, and biomass is a lot easier to get. So I have 2 hours and 22 minutes on this mine, and I open it up here, and I have a 2% chance of iron, a 2% chance of carbon, and 2% chance of silicone, and 90% dirt. Dirt doesn't, I don't know what we're going to use dirt for, but it's in there. So my dilemma is finding a decent mining spot at this point in time close to my biodome area. Now, over to where I'm looking, there's a big hill over there. I have a mine over on that one, and it's same thing, 2%, 2%, 2%. So I haven't really found the gold rush for getting different minerals. Now, some of you asking, where do we get the titanium, uranium, and all that stuff? You're going to have to, like in this particular area here with the green lush that you see, you're not going to find any titanium and all the good stuff. You'll have to go to different bios and start looking at the different little rocks that have the crystal outbreaks on them. And there seems not to be a good correlation between what the rock looks like and what's actually inside. So you're going to have to do a little investigating and go hit them all to figure out what's inside them and what you need. Your most abundant product is probably going to be silicone. I end up leaving that a lot in the different areas away. Number two, when you have a chance, get your here I made the little fences out here just to see what they look like. They're okay. Be nice if they had some door fences or something for them, but as soon as you can, get your big construction container manufactured, because you open it up, it holds a lot, and then you can just slowly dump everything into here, and then through your distribution tubes, conveyor tubes, you can really sort out your stuff. Last but not least on this part 2, it is really important. I'm going to hit escape, going to save game, and I have one called Safe Base that I use a lot, and I'm going to overwrite that. Whenever you do a large build anywhere or you're working on something, save it, buddies, because something happens. Now, another thing, I have what's called run. So when I'm out on a run and I gather a lot of stuff and I'm getting into a tricky area where I may end up tipping over my vehicle, I do a save. So in the event I crash, I get wiped out, or I start getting attacked by some animals and I get killed for some reason, I can reasonably go back and just I'd use my run stage. And if it gets totally weird for some reason, I can always go back to safe base and start from there and not worry about losing a bunch of stuff. So always save. Do not rely on the autosave, because it may be some time before you can before it saves what you really need to get saved, especially after you did a big run or you killed some animals and you got a bunch of meat and stuff you don't want to lose. So another thing to look at. So we're in the midst of building the base up. I wish on terraforming we can put dirt back in. Watch out how you hit the dirt trying to remove stuff, because you end up building big holes like this. And at this point in time, doesn't seem any real way to fill those things back in. Once you go out into you start picking up uranium. You pick up a lot of uranium. So, like here for the generator, I got 57 hours of time. And this is 57 hours of in-game time. Like I said before, not like Imperium, when you leave the game, it's still clicking off. Same thing for your battery packs in your units. It's for in-game time. And then when you build, like I said, when you use the cryo chamber and you get in, it does not advance the time on your other timers. So if you get in, you get your 8 hours worth of sleep, you're still going to have basically the same amount. So let's say, for instance, we're going to open this up. We got 57 hours. And I'm going to get in my cryo chamber. Going to do my little sleepy poo.
You are well rested. You are in a well-fed state. Good hydration secured.
And I'm going to go over to our unit. And we're at 56 hours 55. So nothing really changed. So bear that in mind. Oh, too, and when you use the stasis channel, stasis unit, notice your food and your thirst rates go back up to 100%. So that beats using the sleeping bags. Oh yeah, and speaking of sleeping bags, make yourself up sleeping bags. Like I've got 7 in my inventory, because when you go out and exploring around, like I said, if you're going to spend a day or two out there, you're going to need sleeping bags, which only gives you 8 hours. So it's one use of 8 hours sleep for one sleeping bag. So pick up on that. Make sure your batteries are packed. And make sure you have some spare parts and stuff like that in some of your storage boxes to help fill you up in case you need to build something. Second bug, I have a beacon, solar beacon, up straight ahead up in that mountain where my miner is, and it doesn't seem to want to post on the compass. So be cautious about laying out the solar beacons. The full power beacons that require energy, maybe you have a large complex or something, you may want to put a beacon out up there at another part of the map so you can find your way back and forth between the two. So guys, I hope you learned a little bit out of part 2 here. And that's it for right now. So good hunting and happy building, and we'll talk at you later.